Most people think they're aging well until they try to stand up from a low chair. That single moment reveals everything about where you really stand. I'm Dr. Miguel Rodriguez, and I've spent 28 years studying why some people thrive at 80 while others struggle at 65. What I've discovered will change how you think about getting older. Here's what nobody tells you. 5 specific abilities separate those who age gracefully from those who don't. If you still have these 5 things, you're doing better than 80% of people your age. Lose even one, and your independence starts slipping away faster than you realize. Last week, a woman named Patricia came to my clinic. She's 71. Her daughter wanted to move her into assisted living. Patricia was devastated. "Doctor, I'm not ready for that. I can still do everything myself." But when I tested her, 3 of the 5 abilities were already gone. She didn't even know it. The decline happens so gradually that most people miss it entirely. You adapt without noticing. You start using your hands to push yourself out of chairs. You hold the railing going downstairs. You avoid bending down to pick things up. These small adjustments feel normal, but they're warning signs. Ability number 1, standing up from a sitting position without using your hands. Sounds simple, right? Try it now. Sit in a chair, cross your arms over your chest, and stand up. No hands, no momentum, just your legs doing the work. Can you do it? If yes, your leg strength is still good. If no, you've already lost something critical. Your quadriceps muscles, the ones on the front of your thighs, control this movement. After 65, you lose about 3% of muscle mass every year. Most people don't notice because they've stopped challenging these muscles. They always use their hands to stand up. The muscles weaken further. It becomes a cycle. A Brazilian study followed 2,000 people aged 51 to 80 for 6 years. They tested this exact movement. The people who couldn't stand up without using their hands were 5 times more likely to die within that 6-year period. 5 times. Not because standing up matters by itself, but because it reveals overall physical decline. When your legs can't lift your body weight, everything else gets harder. Walking becomes exhausting. Stairs become mountains. You stop going places because it's too difficult. Social isolation follows. Depression follows. Your world shrinks. But here's what shocked me most. This decline is reversible if you catch it early. Michael was 68 when I met him. He failed the sit-to-stand test completely. I designed a simple routine for him. 10 chair squats every morning. Just 10. 3 months later, Michael stood up from that chair like he was 40 years old. His daughter cried watching him. The key is consistency, not intensity. Your muscles will rebuild if you give them a reason to. But most people never test themselves, so they never know they're declining until it's almost too late. Now, ability number 2, walking backward in a straight line for 10 steps. This one surprises people. Why would I need to walk backward? Because backward walking requires something most seniors lose without realizing it: spatial awareness and balance integration. When you walk forward, your body's on autopilot. You've done it a million times. But walking backward forces your brain to actively control every movement. It tests whether your cerebellum, the part of your brain that coordinates movement, is still functioning well. It reveals if your inner ear balance system is deteriorating. Most importantly, it shows if your brain and body are still communicating effectively. Stand up right now. Turn around and try walking backward 10 steps in a straight line. Don't look behind you. Just walk. How did it go? Did you veer to one side? Did you feel unstable? Did you need to stop and steady yourself? A study from the University of Michigan found that seniors who could walk backward confidently had 40% fewer falls than those who couldn't. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related deaths in people over 65. One fall can end your independence permanently. But there's something deeper happening here. Your ability to walk backward reflects cognitive function. It requires your brain to process spatial information, coordinate muscle movements, and maintain balance simultaneously. When this ability fades, it often signals early cognitive decline before memory problems appear. I met Dorothy 6 months ago. She's 74. Sharp as ever, remembering everything, doing crossword puzzles daily. But when I asked her to walk backward, She took 2 steps and nearly fell. I referred her for cognitive testing. Early signs of dementia. Her family had no idea. Walking backward revealed what conversation couldn't. The beautiful thing about this ability is how quickly it improves with practice. Just 5 minutes daily, walking backward in your hallway, holding the wall for safety at first. Your brain creates new neural pathways. Your balance receptors recalibrate. Within weeks, most people see dramatic improvement. Ability number 3, reaching down and touching your toes without bending your knees. Flexibility. Everyone dismisses it until they've lost it. Then suddenly, putting on socks becomes a daily struggle. Picking up something you dropped requires elaborate planning. Getting in and out of a car turns into an ordeal. Your hamstrings and lower back muscles naturally tighten as you age. Most people accept this as inevitable. It's not. The tightness comes from years of sitting and lack of stretching. Those tight muscles pull on your pelvis, compress your spine, and restrict your movement. Stand up and try it. Keep your knees straight and reach down toward your toes. How far can you get? Can you touch your shins? Your ankles? Your toes? Be honest about where your flexibility actually is right now. A Japanese study measured flexibility in 5,000 seniors over 10 years. The ones who maintained good flexibility lived longer and reported significantly better quality of life. Why? Because flexibility determines how easily you move through your day. Every movement either feels effortless or requires extra energy. That difference compounds over years. But flexibility does something else crucial. It protects your back. Lower back pain affects 80% of seniors at some point. Most of that pain comes from tight hamstrings pulling on the lower spine. Maintain flexibility, and you avoid years of chronic pain. I've watched seniors regain toe touch ability in their 80s after decades of stiffness. It requires consistency, not intensity. Gentle stretching, daily practice, patience with your body's pace. The improvements accumulate slowly, then suddenly you're bending without thinking about it. Ability number 4, standing on one leg for 30 seconds. Balance determines whether you stay independent or become dependent on others. It's that simple. Most people don't realize their balance is deteriorating until they're already falling regularly. By then, confidence is shattered, and fear restricts movement even further. Try this right now. Stand up, lift one foot off the ground, and hold that position. Don't grab onto anything unless you absolutely must. Count to 30. How long did you last? 10 seconds? 20? Did you wobble immediately? Need to put your foot down and restart? A study from the Mayo Clinic tracked 2,000 seniors for 8 years. Those who could balance on one leg for less than 10 seconds had triple the mortality rate of those who could hold it for 30 seconds. Triple. Balance isn't just about preventing falls, it's a biomarker for overall system health. Your balance depends on 3 systems working together: vision, inner ear function, and proprioception. Proprioception is your body's ability to sense where it is in space. When any of these systems declines, your balance suffers. The good news? You can rebuild balance at any age. I worked with Thomas last year. He's 77. Couldn't stand on one leg for even 5 seconds. We started simple. Stand near a counter, lift one foot slightly, hold for just 3 seconds. Every day, add 1 second. 6 weeks later, Thomas held it for 30 seconds without support. His entire posture changed. He walked taller, moved more confidently, stopped shuffling his feet. Balance training does something remarkable in your brain. It forces different neural pathways to communicate. Your cerebellum has to coordinate with your visual cortex and your vestibular system. This cross-communication keeps your brain plastic and adaptable. Neuroplasticity doesn't disappear with age. It just needs the right stimulus. Ability number 5. Getting up from the floor without using your hands. This one sounds strange until you understand what it reveals. The ability to lower yourself to the ground and return to standing without hand support requires strength, flexibility, coordination, and balance simultaneously. It's the ultimate full-body functional test. There's actually a formal assessment called the sitting rising test. You start standing, sit down on the floor, then stand back up. You lose points for each time you use your hand, knee, or forearm for support. Perfect score is 10 points. Studies show your score directly correlates with mortality risk. Someone who scores 0 to 3 points has 5 to 6 times higher mortality risk than someone who scores 8 to 10. Don't try this if you haven't done it in years. You could hurt yourself, but understand what it represents. This movement requires hip mobility, knee strength, core stability, and spatial awareness. It's everything your body needs to function independently, compressed into one simple action. When you lose this ability, you've lost the reserve capacity that protects you during unexpected situations. A stumble that someone with good floor-to-stand ability recovers from becomes a fall for someone without it. The margin between independence and injury shrinks to nothing. Most people lose these 5 abilities gradually, barely noticing until they're gone. You stop walking backward because you never needed to. You stop touching your toes because it got uncomfortable. You stop standing on one leg because it felt unstable. You stop getting on the floor because it seemed unnecessary. Each small loss feels insignificant, but together they determine whether you thrive or merely survive your later years. Here's what nobody tells you. You can rebuild all 5 abilities starting today, regardless of your current state. Your body responds to demands at any age. Make the demand, provide consistency, and improvement follows. Start where you are. If you can only walk backward 3 steps, make it 4 tomorrow. If your fingers only reach your knees when bending forward, that's your starting point. If you can balance for 8 seconds, try for 9. Progress isn't about comparing yourself to others. It's about being slightly more capable next month than you are today. The people who maintain independence into their 90s aren't lucky. They're not genetically special. They simply kept asking their bodies to do things that matter. They maintained the abilities that most people let slip away. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need expensive equipment. You need awareness of what you're losing and commitment to keeping it. 5 minutes daily practicing these movements will do more for your longevity than any supplement or medication. I've seen it hundreds of times. Someone in their 70s convinced they're declining. Then 3 months of consistent practice later, they're more capable than they were at 60. The body wants to function well. It just needs the right stimulus. Check yourself against these 5 abilities monthly. They're your early warning system. When one starts declining, you know exactly where to focus attention. Don't wait until you've fallen to realize your balance needed work. Don't wait until you're stuck on the floor to wish you'd practiced getting up. Your independence in 10 years is being determined by what you do today, not what you did when you were younger, not what you plan to do eventually, what you actually do today and tomorrow, and the day after that. These 5 abilities are your foundation. Everything else in your life depends on them staying strong. I've tested thousands of people between 65 and 85. The ones still thriving aren't the ones who had the easiest lives or the best genetics. They're the ones who stayed honest about their abilities and worked on them before crisis forced the issue. You now know the 5 markers that matter most. The question isn't whether you have them today, it's whether you'll still have them next year.